Everybody have a seat. Oh, what a good listener you are. So good. You got the hot breath today. Are we just gonna stare at each other? This is nice. Can you go sit down? Why don't you go sit on the air conditioning vent? I know that's your favorite. I know it's your favorite. That was more intimate than I wanted to be right now. Hey kids, welcome back to another pizza party. I'm Mrs. Pizza. This is Winnie, and down here is Cheese. And today we are gonna do a little bit of a book haul. Or we're just gonna look at Winnie, because she's gonna be front and center. Enjoy the view. She's gonna go sit on the air conditioning vent, because that's currently her favorite thing to do. We are gonna do a little bit of a book haul. So I did my last baby book haul right before the holiday times back in December, and I have acquired several more books since then. Most of these books I have actually gotten secondhand, whether that be at secondhand places near me or on Pango Books, which is my favorite place to scroll. I just will get on there and just scroll for forever just looking at books. It's a very strange thing. But I have gotten a bunch of used books. I've also been given a handful of books that I know absolutely nothing about, but the person said they sounded like they'd be, right up my street. And I've also gotten some subscription books from some subscription-based boxes that I currently receive, be paying the money for, consumerism. And then some other books that I just bought because, like Target was having a sale or something. I don't know. Don't make me explain why I buy books. Sometimes we need to purchase things to feel something, to feel alive inside. I also have caffeine. This is gonna be chaos. I already know. All right, so first we are going to start off with the books that I purchased secondhand. The first book that we are going to talk about is StarDust by Neil Gaiman. I actually got this one because I've seen the movie StarDust and I've never read the book. And I actually found there are quite a few movies that I've only watched the movie version and never read the book version, which I feel like is not a thing. Most people have read the book before they've watched the movie. Apparently I just skipped that whole part. This book I actually got because I love this cover and it matches this version of Neverwhere I have. There is a few of Neil Gaiman's books that have these illustrated covers done by, am I having some sort of brain malfunction? Oh my God, it's on the back. The illustrator of these covers was Robert McGinnis, and I guess he is pretty famous for his illustrated covers, but he did quite a few of Neil Gaiman's backlist. I am obsessed with these, and so I decided that I was going to collect them, because why not? I like Neil Gaiman books. I liked this movie. I don't see how it would be possible for me to not like this book, and I really freaking loved this book, so why not collect? Why not collect things? We're all just trying to find stupid little things that make us happy. Mine's gonna be collecting Robert McGinnis Neil Gaiman books. If you don't know the story of it, it is the story of, what was his name? Tristan. Tristan is this young man who lives in a town called Wall, and the reason that this town is called Wall is because there is literally a wall that exists just on the outside of town that is always guarded. On the other side of this wall is another world, basically, a magical world, and the residents of Wall are not allowed to cross the wall. Now, Tristan falls in love with a girl in his small town, and in order to prove himself, tells her that he will go and get a fallen star that they see. So he crosses the wall to go retrieve this fallen star for his lady love, and adventure ensues. This movie, if you haven't seen it, has Claire Danes in it, and Robert, oh my, I need this coffee today. De Niro, holy dear caffeine, help a girl out. Along with a cast of original and fun characters. It's very Neil Gaiman, it's very fairy tale. StarDust. The next book I got secondhand is Wrath by Gwynne. If you have not watched my video where I talk about series that I need to continue, which is 110% a video that I made to hold myself accountable, because I have this habit of reading the first book in a series, buying other books in the series, and never, ever continuing. Just not going any further. If you know why I do this, if there is a reason, you're like, let me explain to you why you have this very strange habit. Please tell me, because I don't understand it. But in that video, I talked about how I had read Malice by Gwynne and absolutely adored it. And so then I promptly purchase the next 2 books, which I believe are Valor and Ruin. I just pulled those out of somewhere deep in my brain. If it's not right, I will put the correct answers on the screen and you can make fun of how stupid I am. But I have not read any further in that series. I had purchased 2 books in that series and not continued on. And then I saw this and it was on sale. It was dirt cheap. And now I have the whole series that I haven't continued on with. Look at the size of this bad boy. But if anything, now I don't have to ever worry about keeping my eye out because I've actually gotten that whole series secondhand I got the other 2 books from a local used bookstore near me, and it just kept my eye out for this one so that I could complete the whole series. Now I have the whole series. If you don't know anything about this series, it is basically an high fantasy, epic, multi-POV story about a world where giants used to rule, they don't rule anymore, some ancient magical artifact has come back into influence, and all of these prophecies are starting to come true, and you are following multiple points of view as this prophecy starts unwinding. The first book was a lot of fun, and I've heard the series just gets better and better. And now I have the whole series, so I need to read it. The next books I actually got from, well, the next 4 books I actually got from Mr. Pizza's mom, so my future mother-in-law. But apparently she had a thing for Anne McCaffrey. I have the 3 books in the Freedom's Landing series, which is Freedom's Landing, Freedom's Choice, and Freedom's Challenge. I don't know much about these books other than this was a national bestseller. I don't even know when this book. This is like so. This book is real loose. Are you an old lady? Well, this was printed in 1995. Could this book legally drink? I think this book could legally drink at this point. No, they couldn't. What is math? I'm not doing it. 1995. You do math. Could this book vote? Could it drink? Does it drive a car? Nope, nonsense. I understand as a sci-fi story where this character, Kristen, lived a very normal life until one day a bunch of ships showed up and enslaved humankind. And just we go through things through these books together. It's a saga and it's a sci-fi series. And why not? It was free. And the next book I received is Dragon Flight by the same author, Anne McCaffrey. This is volume 1 in the Dragon Riders of Pern. This sounds like it is more fantasy. Someone's birthright was stolen. They're trying to... Are you whiny because I won't let you go outside? You've been eating dirt. And last time I checked, we're not supposed to eat dirt. You don't get to just bark. You got the baby all into it now. This is about dragons trying to reclaim a birthright. Oh, and she shares a telepathic bond with a dragon. Together, dragon and rider will fly. This sounds super fun. Smells like old book. I like it. Who doesn't love dragons? That feels like one of those series that like most people have heard about that I have not heard about until this very moment. The next book I picked up after that was Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I have mentioned in other videos that I am currently trying to go back and read either classic stories, backlist stories, basically books that I either had to read in high school, middle school, college, that I have no recollection of, or stories that everyone kind of, as the general population, just assumes that we've all read at some point. That being, for me, Jane Eyre. I think I know the story of Jane Eyre, just like I think I know a lot of stories that I've never actually read. There is something touching my nose. I don't think I've ever read anything from any of the Bronte sisters either, or if I have, again, it was probably in like high school, and I don't remember. I just want to be a classics girly, and it might not be in the cards for me. I thought this copy was beautiful, and I'm gonna give it a try. It was cheap. It was secondhand. How do you say no to that? The next book I got after that is White Horse, and this is by Erika T. Wurth. I saw this one and was immediately interested in the synopsis. And I will read you a tiny bit of it because I don't think I will paraphrase it correctly. Heavy metal, ripped jeans, Stephen King novels, and the occasional beer at the White Horse has defined urban Indian Carrie James' life so far. So when her cousin Debbie finds an old family bracelet that once belonged to Carrie's mother, it inadvertently calls up both her mother's ghost and a mysterious entity, and Carrie's willful ignorance about her past is no longer sustainable. Stephen King novels, ripped jeans, and haunted bracelets. Yes. Yes. Also, look at that cover. Looks spooky ooky. I haven't heard anything about this after it originally came out. This was a book of the month pick, obviously. I got it secondhand because I don't have book of the month, but I got it for super cheap and I was interested as soon as I started hearing about it. So it was I scooped this one up fast. I was excited when I found this one. And that's it for the used books that I've gotten recently. Now, let's talk about the books that I bought that I just bought because I wanted to buy. I got Cloud Cuckoo Land, and this is by Anthony Doerr. I don't know anything about this. This was a book that received a lot of praise right when it first came out. This was a National Book Award finalist and was one of the 100 notable books of 2021 from the New York Times. That seems prestigious. This is from the author of All the Light We Cannot See. I have not read that book, but a lot of people were ranting and raving about it. The only reason I didn't read it is it didn't sound like something that I would enjoy no matter how well it was written. The UPS man is here. This is gonna be fantastic. Let's place bets now. Is Winnie gonna casually watch this person walk up to my, nope, you missed your chance. If your answer to is Winnie gonna lose her mind as this person walks up to our house and make whale noises at him? Yeah, no, he knows you live here now. Thank goodness. I really don't know much about this book other than a lot of my clients that I talked to about books said that this sounded like it would be something right up my alley. I think it's multiple storylines that are all happening at different points in time. Somebody said it's similar to Cloud Atlas in that way, where it's all of these stories are intertwined, but you don't really know how because they're taking place at different times. I don't know. I know nothing. It's got a beautiful cover and has a lot of prestigious awards, so I bought it. Stop judging me. You buy stupid stuff too. It's not stupid. I'll love it. Might be my favorite book. You don't know. The next two books I got are A Psalm for the Wild Built and A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. These two books are book 1 and 2 in the Robot and Monk series. I actually recently finished this book and absolutely loved it and can't wait to start this one. In these books, you are following a monk whose name is Sibling Dex, and they have left their former home in a large city in this post-fall of civilization world. At some point in this world, robots and AI were invented, and then they gradually gained consciousness. And when they arrived at consciousness, the robots said, hey, we're out of here, and left and went and lived in the woods. Humans have not seen robots for hundreds of years since they left. And our monk, Sibling Dex, is feeling unsatisfied with their life and has taken up this new job as a teen monk where they travel in a cart from small town to small town, serving tea and being a sympathetic ear. Basically a form of counseling for everyone that comes up, talks about what they're dealing with, what's stressing them out, things they need to get off their chest. Sibling Dex is still not feeling 100% fulfilled by this new job that they've taken on, and so they've traveled a little bit further out than they usually would, and they run into the first robot that a human has encountered in the entire time since robots have left. It's a sweet little story. It's a little bit more low stakes. If you can hear them, they're like squeaking toys and making whale noises. It's super fun. This is a lot about what the meaning of life is. Deep questions in a cozy and lovely environment. I really enjoyed this. I love the characters, and I can't wait to continue to follow them on their journey. This is something, if you really enjoy cozy fantasy and you're looking for cozy sci-fi, here it is right here. I've heard all of Becky Chambers' books are considered more of a cozy sci-fi, so if that's something you're interested in, because I'm interested in it, maybe Becky Chambers is somebody we should be checking out, you know? I'm checking her out. Well, I'm not checking her out. I don't know what she looks like. I'm checking out her work. Caffeine is a hell of a drug. And the last book, and the ones that I've most recently purchased, is The House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. This author wrote The Year of the Witching, which was really popular when it first came out, which is a book about witches. And House of Hunger is a book about vampires. Big quotations around vampires. This is a story of Marion. She lives in a slum in a very large city in a world where the nobility and the wealthy have these houses that they are members of. They live in the north and they are just the epitome of power and luxury. They employ women to be blood maids, which means you come in and these wealthy aristocrats drink your blood for health purposes, for apparently it's supposed to keep you younger, longer, but they're not vampires in the sense that you're used to vampires. They're, you know, they're not walking around sparkling like diamonds in the sunlight. They are just really wealthy, ridiculous nobility that like to drink the blood of, you know, beautiful young women. This is a gothic-y tale. I've heard this has got a lot of sapphic angst and yearning in it. And I actually just recently finished this and really enjoyed it. It is one of those books that kind of, the pace is slowly ramping the entire time you're reading it, but you don't realize it until you get to the end and you are flipping pages like a mad woman. You were just like, what is going on? It was really good, and I really enjoyed how the author writes and describes things, and it made me want to pick up The Year of the Witching, which I haven't. So also, tell me that that is not a gorgeous cover. That is our Marion. That is our Blood Maid. I loved this. I love a gothic story, which I did not know about myself until very recently. The last couple books I got are actually from my Illumicrate subscription. I live in the United States, and Illumicrate has recently gotten a distribution center here in the US. They've been having some issues with the books getting to the distribution center and then getting out to people, so I don't know which book is which because I got my January book before my December book. If I even got my January book, I don't know anymore. But I have gotten 3 books from them recently. And let's look at these pretty, pretty books. First one we're gonna talk about is The Whispering Dark. I mean, look at that. This is absolutely gorgeous. Look at those end papers. This is our naked hardcover. We also have the ability to turn the dust jacket around. I'm assuming these are our main characters. This is a YA, I'm gonna say dark academia, but everything is getting called a dark academia right now because everybody loves a good dark academia. But this is the story of Delaney. She is tired of being seen as fragile just because she's deaf. So she's been accepted into a prestigious program at the Godkiller University that trains students to slip between parallel worlds. She's excited for the chance to prove herself, but as her semester gets off to a rocky start and she has an awkward encounter with a pretentious upperclassman whom she has every intention of keeping her distance from. I have a feeling this is going to be a enemies to lovers YA with some representation for our deaf main character, also slipping between parallel worlds. This is gorgeous. I think the original cover is purple, but I'm feeling the pink. And I don't know if you can see, but those flowers have little skulls in them. The next book I got after that is The Luminaries, and this is by Susan Dennard. This book, look at that. Look at that. On the back it says, "The forest is dangerous for a luminary untrained." This book, we've got people on the end papers, but the book itself, that's just stupid, stupid pretty. This is another YA novel. Ooh, with a blurb from Lee Bardugo. It will draw you in and leave you begging for more. This starts off as, Hemlock Falls isn't like other towns. You won't find it on a map. Your phone won't work here, and the forest outside of town might kill you. So we got a spooky ooky forest and a beautiful book. The last book we're going to talk about is actually the one that I have most recently received and am the most excited about, and that is Godkiller by Hannah Kenner. This book, look at those. This book is stupid pretty. Signed, she's signed. But look at this. What is this? I know this is an adventure fantasy. I think it's a reluctant group of people that all end up traveling together. Kissian's family was killed by zealots of a fire god, and now she makes a living killing gods and enjoys it. That's until she finds a god she cannot kill. Skeldy, a god of white lies, has somehow bound himself to a young noble, and they are both on the run from unknown assassins. Joined by a disillusioned knight on a secret quest, they must travel to the ruined city of Blenraden, where the last of the wild gods reside, and beg for favors. So, group of people reluctantly go on an adventure together to ask a god for favors. I think this is the start of a series, but if it's not, it's okay. That is a beautiful book, and I'm glad I own it. I have a feeling that the box that just showed up also might contain books. Hold, please. Okay. Yes. First of all, stop judging me. Because maybe while you're filming a book haul and a box shows up and it has books in it, you know, mind your business. We're all just trying to find stupid little things to make us happy, you know? This is not for puppies. I bought some damn books. What did I even buy? Oh, this is The Cage of Dark Hours. This is by Marina Lostetter. This is the second book in the first book is called The Helm of Midnight, I believe. Yes, The Helm of Midnight. It is a fantasy horror where you are following a few characters, I believe. Gosh, it's been a long time since I read it. It is the story of an investigation of a serial killer in this fantasy world. And this serial killer is brutally murdering people and basically turning them into giant flowers. Also, an artifact is stolen, which is a mask that contains the soul of a serial killer or like prolific killer, because in this world, you can imbue personalities onto objects. That all might be a lie, because I am pulling that out of the back of my brain. This is the second novel in an epic fantasy trilogy where the defeat of a serial killer back from the dead has pulled the mask off the myths and magic of a fantastical city. I really enjoyed the first one more than I thought I would. I kind of just went into it being like, yeah, serial killer fantasy sounds fun times. But I'm excited to see where this story goes. The next book in here is City of Nightmares by Rebecca Schaeffer. I picked this up because I saw it randomly on someone else's haul video. They literally read the beginning of the blurb and I was like, that sounds insane. I want nothing more than to read that crazy nonsense. It says, welcome to New Haim, where nightmares become reality. Ever since her sister became a man-eating spider and slaughtered her way through town, 19-year-old Ness has been terrified. Terrified of some other nightmare murdering her and terrified of ending up like her sister. How can you not want to read that? Her sister got turned into a giant spider. Hello. This is a really shiny cover. It feels very strange in my hands. The cover is weird, but I'm very excited. City of Nightmares. The next book I got was The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the first in a trilogy. I don't know much about this, other than I think it is a con woman who accidentally summons a djinn and gets sucked into another world where they have to deal with the politics of that world. They journey together across hot, windswept sands teeming with creatures of fire and rivers where mythical myriad sleep, past ruins of once magnificent human metropolises, and mountains where the circling birds of prey are more than what they seem, to Devabad, the legendary city of brass. First book in a trilogy. Everybody really seems to love this, and this author actually just recently came out with a new book that I believe is piratey, but I wanted to read this also. Look at that. Isn't that just satisfying? It's got good hand feels. And the last book I got is Amari and the Night Brothers, and this is by B.B. Alston. I actually got this, and this might be the stupidest thing ever, but I love secondhand books, but I also randomly love finding books that have annotations, notes, things like that in there, because it almost feels like a buddy read with someone you've never met. But I have a niece who is 7.5, almost, gosh, she's getting so big. She'll be 8 years old this summer, and she lives in a different state from me, and it's awful and I hate it, and I wish she lived here, but that's beside the point. I also miss, my sister and my nephew and my brother-in-law too, but she has gotten really into reading, and I know her and my sister like to read a chapter of a chapter book every night before bed, and I came up with the idea where I wanted to read this and annotate it and fill it full of notes and stickers and then give it to them so it felt like we were reading a book together. It might come out really stupid. I also think it might be fun because as a kid, if somebody had given me a book with notes and stickers and highlights in it so that I got to feel like it was reading it with them, I really would have enjoyed that. So I got this one because everybody ranted and raved about how good this was. Also, this gives me a chance to read through it first to see if it's even something that she would be ready to read. I mean, she is almost 8. She is 7.5, and this is, I think, middle grade, so 8 to 12 is usually where I think that falls, but you never know. So I also get to read through it first and see if it's something I need to hang on for a little while longer before I give it to her, or if I can just go ahead, annotate it, and then hand it off, and so we can have this book that we've both read. I hope it turns out as lovely as I think it will. It was a random haul that got much bigger than I thought it was going to. Also, the dogs want to go outside now because they've already spent the entire time playing just off camera and making a whole bunch of noise, and now they're just sitting by the door staring at me, wanting to go outside. Hopefully, hopefully I'm not buying any more books anytime soon. I've got plenty to read. These books behind me are actually only books that I have already read. I have an entire bookshelf that is books that I have not read, and it is just full. I am also a constant purger. You probably won't ever see an unhaul video from me because I'm constantly purging books. I'm either passing them on to other people because I think they would enjoy them and they weren't that much of a hit for me, selling them on secondhand sites, dropping them in free little libraries. I'm constantly purging books. So my to-be read shelves are packed, but my have-been read, want to hang on to shelves are a little bit skinnier. These are the top tier. At least some of them. I feel like randomly I'll look at them and I'm like, no, you need to leave the shelf. But that, kids, is the end of this pizza party. I hope you're reading good books out there wherever you are, and I'll see you next time.